There are certain companies we find ourselves continually turning to when it comes to helping athletes achieve their optimal position. And I thought it would be cool to spotlight these companies for all of you every now and then, kind of talking about how and why we point our athletes towards them, and how to properly set their products up, or at least set yourself up on them. Now, interestingly, most of these companies are small companies, kind of micro companies, if you will. They're run by only a handful of individuals. They don't produce products in large numbers compared to what we would consider the mainstream companies in the world of cycling. And yet their impact on the industry is far greater than their size. And what's the secret to this success? Well, it's an age-old story of consumerism. They see a need and they fill it rapidly. The fact that they exist at all is in itself an interesting topic. I mean, they fill a need seemingly ignored by the big players in the industry, who are slow to recognize and even slower to react to consumer demand. Perhaps because these products, now critical to us in optimizing athletes, just probably don't sell in big enough numbers or aren't OEM type products. OEM stands for original equipment. That's the stuff that comes on your bike that you buy from like a bike shop. The way to get the word out in marketing is brilliant. And of course, they're using social media, but not necessarily paid pros. They're using the praise of the customers who bought the products themselves. That means way more to you and me as consumers. So for whatever the reason, most of you will immediately recognize these companies and their products because they certainly do sell enough to make a difference, and they most certainly allow us to position our athletes in the very best positions. So the first company we're going to highlight, FastTT. Hi everyone, Jim from Faster Fiction. Now, before we get started, let's be clear. These company and product reviews are not meant to be commercials. There's no financial incentive for us. There's no deals in place. We'll tell you what we like and we'll tell you what we don't like about the products we review. And while this particular review is primarily about a company, we'll obviously focus on the products they make. Like our aero testing, these are completely independent reviews made just for all of us as consumers. So FastTT is a New Zealand-based company owned by Wayne Atwell, and their focus is on aerobars, like really cool and really comfortable aerobars. These actually they could be the most popular aftermarket aerobars in the world right now, and for good reason. They come in 4 different sizes or lengths. They support the entire forearm and wrist, and man, they just look great. They look sexy. Now, the funny thing is, Wayne didn't really start out with a plan to sell aerobars. He just wanted to design bars for his own time trial position. And working from home, he wanted to build the best aerobar he'd ever used. And he focused on how the aerobar interfaced with his arm and hand. And after many hours of sketching and prototyping and probably a ton of 3D printing, pulling his hair out, he came up with this first design. And it wasn't long before his first bars were actually being sold to others, and things began to take off from there. His aha moment came in May of 2022 when he realized the majority of his customers were actually triathletes. And from there, a new bar specific to triathletes was born, and by July of 22, they were up for sale. That's rapid development. One thing you realize right away when you place your arms in these bars is just how good they feel. They just seem to fit just so naturally. The sides of the armrests are just the right height to hold you secure, but the shape isn't such that you feel like your arms are being squeezed together or your shoulders are being squeezed together. And you feel like you can get out of aero quickly if you need to. The angle of the grip is just perfect. It allows for a natural hand position without having to bend the wrist in one direction or the other. Everything just feels like it was custom made, but it doesn't come at the cost of custom, and that's nice. There's plenty of mounting holes for both fore and aft adjustment and width. We'll get into this more in a moment. I even like the elbow pads, which you can order in multiple color options, by the way. Now, one thing that will strike you about all FastTT products is the quality of the construction. With some of the smaller manufacturers, the products, while perfectly functional, sometimes seem a little unrefined. You can tell they're not mass-produced, and they're a little, sometimes literally, rough around the edges. But not so with FastTT. Wayne's stuff is polished. Everything looks well made. Everything looks refined, everything feels solid, and just looking at them, you feel confident they're safe to use for years to come. And while the aero bars are awesome, it's the accompanying mounts and accessories that, for me, really make this company stand out. Because you see, having a great set of aero bars doesn't help me a whole lot if I can't get an athlete into the optimal position with them. This is not a problem with FastTT. Let's begin with the mounting plates. I'm not sure how he does it, but he has mounting plates for most of the popular tri bikes out there. I mean, just look at all these things. It's fantastic. I've yet to have any problem installing a FastTT plate to any bike. Everything fits perfectly. And the cool thing about each one, by the way, is they typically add reach to whatever bike they're made for. And let's talk about reach because it's our constant battleground. You see, for the most part, and for most athletes, no current tri bike is made with enough reach to achieve the modern tri position. Few can achieve the most aero or most comfortable position athletes today desire without aftermarket parts, and so here comes FastTT to the rescue. So yes, the mounting plates, they do add reach to the bike, but then he has these. These, my friends, are my silver bullets. When I want to slay the reach monster, and it's pretty much with everyone, I grab these, the forward reach extenders. This very well could be the most useful product I've ever used. And I'm not kidding around here. I love these things. I use them even on non-FastTT bars all the time. Now, these extenders come in two different lengths, and when I recommend someone to buy FastTT bars, these are always included in the shopping list. Always. They give me the freedom to find the perfect amount of reach for each individual athlete. Does that athlete need 5 centimeters more reach? 10 centimeters? Hey, no problem. The extenders have it covered, and these things are rock solid. So when you do add substantial reach, you do so with confidence that these things can handle it. I have never seen one fail. These are often installed on top of the FastTT angled riser kit. But one of the newer products FastTT has made is the extended angle riser kit, which handles both aero bar angle and provides more extension. So that's pretty cool. Typically, I'll know what an athlete needs before we work with them, and I can advise them on exactly what to buy before they come to us. All these products help the athlete get into their best position, and that's what all of this is really about. It can look cool all day long, but if it doesn't get us to optimal, it doesn't do its job. Okay, so yes, I love these products, but I do have a few minor complaints, and granted, they are very minor, kind of really me whining because it's really about inconvenience rather than function, but I thought I'd mention them just the same. Probably my least favorite piece from FastTT are the aero bar mounting brackets. Now their job is to, of course, mount the bars to the aero bar interface, but they also serve to adjust width and angle of the aero bars. And first of all, they work just fine. But they're kind of a pain to deal with because until you get everything mounted, you don't know if everything is sort of perfectly aligned from one side to the other. So you get the bars installed, oh, you see they're a little bit off, and now you got to take the bars off to make adjustments to the brackets, then place the aero bars back on, and oh, well, not quite, we're almost there. And so you got to keep doing this until everything is just right, because most of the athletes purchasing these products are triathletes, and triathlete brains can't seemingly handle any asymmetry at all. If something is off by a millimeter or two, the world falls apart. Again, it's just time consuming, not an actual failure of the bracket itself. Really, again, it's me complaining. Another minor complaint I've observed, when you buy the reach extenders, they don't come with bolts. And I kind of understand that it wouldn't because it's difficult to include them for every possibility, every mounting possibility, but I do think it would be nice if some of the quality, some quality M5 nuts and bolts were included with the purchase. My only other complaint, well, it's no longer a complaint because it's actually been addressed already, but I'll bring it up anyway because it matters when you order the bars. The bar's computer mount, which is built into the aero bar, it's not an option, it juts out from the bar really wide and keeps athletes from getting their hands close together like most like to do. For the most part, we just remove the mount itself, but this leaves the carbon mounting point molded into the bars themselves, just kind of sticking out there, no longer functional. But this has recently been addressed. There is now a narrow mount you can order, which not only allows the tips of the bars to come closer together, but it's also a riser mount. So the computer kind of sits above your hands now, easy to view and out of the way from you accidentally touching it and inadvertently changing the screen. So that's nice. So you definitely need to order that piece when you order those bars, at least in my opinion. And the fact that they just started making that mount leads to my next observation of FastTT. And I don't know of another company who listens to the needs of their athletes more and who can iterate new products as quickly as this company. It's actually kind of fun to watch, to be honest. Again, see the need, fill the need, rinse and repeat. It's an excellent example of why many of these small companies are so successful. Rapid development. Okay, let's talk about how you should set yourself up with these bars. First and foremost, you need to purchase the correct size. FastTT's website shows you how to make one simple measurement, and from that you order one of the 4 sizes or lengths they offer. I've yet to see a bar not fit someone who's followed the instructions, and the instructions are simple. Next, you need to decide how you want to mount the bars to your bike. Now look, not every bike actually needs a mounting plate, but if FastTT makes one for your bike, it's a no-brainer. I would recommend purchasing it. Everything will be so much easier and flow so much more smoothly if you do. Trust me on this, it's more than worth the extra money. Now, does your bike have the ability to angle the aero bars? If not, then you'll need a way to do so. And FastTT, of course, as you covered there as well, they offer the standard angled riser and the extended risers we mentioned earlier, but they also make risers specific to your base aero bar, like a profile aria, which is really nice. And FastTT offers other solutions as well, but I won't attempt to cover them all here. If you have questions, one of the things you'll love about this company is its communication with its customers. Man, it is top notch. People mention it all the time. They love dealing with FastTT. Now, let's not forget those reach extenders. They will likely be necessary as well. Now, if you're not sure you need them or exactly what you need to achieve an optimal position when ordering all these parts, well, in the next week or two, we'll be announcing a way for you to ask us what you need. And we'll have you send a video and analyze it and tell you exactly what you should order from a company like FastTT. This is all part of a larger offering coming to Faster Fiction. We're putting the final touches on it right now. If you happen to be one of our clients who purchased a Ghibli G10 aero sensor using our link, or have paid us to be your remote aero advisor for your own aero testing, this will all be included in your service. Part of the service will also be about how to fit yourself to your bike. Guys, it's far easier than you might think, and you'll be provided video instruction how to do it correctly in your own home. Really, it's not that hard. We're going to take you step by step through the process. If you follow our lead, you'll have a better position than most any bike fitter would place you in. I promise I'm going to make this easy for you. But until then, just know this. You want reach. Lots of reach. Reach until you feel it feels uncomfortable or like you're being pulled off your saddle as you pedal. You're also going to want to angle your forearms. We find somewhere between 12 and 25 degrees to be the range. That's a pretty huge range. Most people end up somewhere between 15 to 22 degrees. 18 to 22 is probably the most popular angles we find for the combination of comfort and aerodynamics. We do have some data, though it's not a lot, that would suggest these bars and bars like them aren't necessarily great for a mantis type position. That's with a really high arm angle. Anything kind of above 28 degrees, I would say. At that point, though the position may look sound and good, you're exposing the underside of the bars to the wind. As you can see here in the video, it looks like a wall the air is sees coming down the road. Mantis is a difficult position to get right to begin with. It's definitely not for this type of aero bar. One thing to keep in mind, however, if you go from, say, 10 degrees of tilt to 15 degrees, you'll need to add reach. A good general rule of thumb is for every 5 degrees of reach you add, you need to add 5 degrees of tilt you need to add 1 centimeter of reach. People miss this part all the time when they're angling their forearms, and it's super important. Again, with our instruction, that will all be in there to allow you to know exactly what we're talking about here. Now, one question I do get asked all the time is, what are the aerodynamic benefits of this type of bar that kind of covers the forearm? And, to be perfectly honest, that's difficult to determine, because unless you can ensure the athlete is in the exact position when testing one bar versus another, isolating what aero difference is nearly impossible. I will say this, athletes who place themselves on bars like FastTT that offer full arm support, they do tend to relax into their position more. So that creates less overall area that they're presenting to the wind, which usually leads to less aerodynamic drag. So there you go, FastTT. If they haven't been on your radar, I can't imagine they haven't been, but if they haven't been, they should be. There's really no reason to go completely custom on cockpits, guys. No real gains to be had by spending that kind of money. Everything FastTT offers will allow you to find your optimal position, unless your bike simply won't allow for it because it's so poorly sized for you it can't get there. The beauty of the FastTT setup over anything custom is that it doesn't lock you into a specific position the way custom will. The vast amount of adjustability with FastTT, what they allow, it allows your position to continually evolve over time. That's what you want. You want to be able to evolve that position. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. It's really humbling to see how many of you enjoy this content. We really appreciate it. Give us a like, please. Hey, subscribe if you want more. We're speeding up the process to try and begin getting a video per week out. It's going to be tough, but we're going to try doing it. So subscribe. And again, we have this great community that we're creating for you, so you can see all of our data and get all the information you need. And we'll be making a bigger announcement about that. Probably, I would love to say in a week, but I'm guessing it's 2 weeks. Okay. Until then, don't be a drag. Get aero, and we will see you soon.